In the eyes of others, possessing dozens of spiritual crystals was considered extremely impressive. However, in a Star Extreme sect, there were a staggering 100 million of them, all because the sect had one super prodigal spender. Meanwhile, at the base of the Beast Peak, Lua Wiming brought Yifeng there, explaining that inside these seal caves were beasts of varying strengths and numbers. The further up one went, the stronger the beasts. Yifeng, puzzled, asked, why seal them? Why not just kill them? Lua Wiming explained that these beasts played a significant role, providing life and death trials for the disciples. If disciples wish to leave the sect, they must challenge these sealed beasts. If they can't even defeat the sealed beasts, they're doomed in the outside world. Here, they still have a chance of survival. The outside world won't be as merciful. Upon hearing this, Yifeng was eager to give it a try. He was going to the battlefield of life and death in a couple of days. Could he have a warm-up fight now? However, Lua Wiming declined. These beasts should be reserved for other disciples to train with. Given your strength, Yifeng, even a few hundred beasts of the same realm would be a breeze for you. It would be a waste. Yifeng persisted, expressing his desire to challenge a higher-ranked beast from the merging spirit realm. However, Lua Wiming pretended not to hear. What did you say? The weather is so nice today. It seems that Master's father will not pay attention to him anymore. Now, his prodigal score is only 2,810 points. He needed to make a significant move soon. A day had passed since Yifeng's visit to the Beast Peak. Today, he had acquired the corpse of a purple thunder mad lion. Although he was unsure of the beast's ranking or how to process it. With his doubts, he approached his senior brother, Chen Haoyu. Senior brother, how should I handle this beast's body? Chen Haoyu explained that one could extract the essence blood from the beast using spiritual energy. However, the essence blood only benefits those who cultivate the body. Yifeng inquired further, what constitutes body cultivation? Body cultivators use techniques to refine their bodies, absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, constantly evolving. Their combat power is terrifying, and the essence blood of beasts is their best cultivation resource. Chen Haoyu elucidated with new questions. Yifeng asked, what if we directly roast and eat the beast's body? Chen Haoyu looked at Yifeng baffled and stared at him with a strange expression, not understanding where Yifeng got such quirky ideas. Despite his confusion, Chen Haoyu explained the more powerful the beast, the more challenging it is to extract its essence blood. If you directly roast and eat it, the power absorbed would likely be less than 1% of the essence blood. It's fine for lower realm beasts, but for powerful ones, not extracting the essence blood and eating it directly would be quite wasteful. Do we have body cultivators in our sack? Yifeng asked curiously. Chen Haoyu replied, yes, 5th ancestral elder Tuyanjian is one. She is a body cultivator at the Tribulation Crossing realm, just as Chen Haoyu wanted to gossip more about Tuyanjian's past. Yifeng promptly left. He wasn't interested in listening to such lengthy stories. Watching Yifeng leave, Chen Haoyu furrowed his brows, wondering if his junior really had the body of a high-round beast and if he was truly considering roasting it. Yifeng then proceeded to the dueling arena. Upon seeing this, the surrounding disciples assumed he was here to challenge again. Some even lay down in surrender, thinking they stood no chance against him, but Yifeng didn't plan on challenging. He jumped onto the stage and announced, let's not duel today. Help me slice some meat instead. I'll treat you all to a barbecue today. Saying this, under the astonished eyes of everyone, he took out the body of the purple thunder mad lion. The sheer size and weight of it immediately shattered the newly repaired arena, witnessing the colossal carcass. The fellow disciples were utterly stupefied. Yifeng then jumped to top the beast. Dear senior brothers and sisters, please help me slice it. I can't handle it alone. Hearing this, the crowd was thrilled. However, during the slicing, they encountered difficulties. The purple thunder mad lion was of such a high grade that their weapons couldn't pierce its defenses. Some weapons even broke upon impact, leaving the disciples almost in tears, mourning their precious, now broken weapons. Seeing this predicament, Yifeng sought help from his system for powerful weapons. The system lent him 100 daggers temporarily, but staring at the rusty, shabby-looking daggers, Yifeng seriously doubted the system's intentions. Can he really cut through, he wondered? Nonetheless, with no other options, he approached his fellow disciples with a bag of worn-out daggers. Stop your attempts. Use my daggers to slice. Observing the incredibly old battered daggers, everyone was skeptical. Will these actually work? But their doubts were soon put to rest when one disciple started slicing. The tough scales of the beast were like tofu under the dagger's edge. The dagger's efficiency was truly terrifying. Seeing this, Yifeng finally smiled in satisfaction, but then he noticed the disciple trying out the dagger on his own body, making Yifeng extremely frustrated. Can't you just focus on the beast's body, he lamented? But he had to admit, the daggers were deceptively powerful. If only I could squander my points on these, he wished. However, the system rejected this thought, reminding Yifeng that the daggers were just on loan. They needed to be returned, or a hefty amount of his spendthrift points would be deducted. Yifeng was speechless. This damn system is so stingy, it seemed he would have to collect them later. With the aid of the miraculous daggers, the crowd quickly dissected the purple thunder mad lion. The roasted meat was fragrant and tantalizing. It was like an ancient-style bonfire feast. The disciples relished every bite. After all, this was high-grade monster meat, a delicacy they might only taste once in their lives. At this moment, about 10 miles away from the Star Extreme set, a figure broke through the air. His name was Luo Kai, a muscular man boasting 8-pack abs. He murmured, "Louis Waming, I'm here." It seemed they were old acquaintances. However, when he saw the active protective barrier of the Star Extreme set, Luo Kai was puzzled. Is the Star Extreme set in danger? But it didn't seem so. He was the only one in the vicinity. Nonetheless, he headed straight for the 9-star sword formation, assuming it to be as it was in the past. He wanted to test its strength against his own body, but in the next moment, he was dumbfounded. What the hell? Completely caught off guard by the enhanced power of the 9-star sword formation. A baffled expression adorned his face as he wondered, who could have upgraded the 9-star sword formation? Detecting the disturbance, Louis Waming flew out, shouting, "Luo Kai, have you gone mad? Can't you see our protective barrier is active? How dare you challenge it head-on?" After hearing Louis Waming's teasing, Louis Okai was so angry. "I come for you. Who knew that your 9-star sword formation has improved so much?" Louis Waming told him to stop talking nonsense. "Hurry up and state your business." Seeing this, Louis Okai revealed his true purpose. He came to show off. This time, he made a fortune in the Heavenly Tao battlefield. He earned as many as 80 top-grade spiritual crystals. Louis Waming thought it was no big deal. "Is that all? I'm leaving first." Louis Okai was stunned. "Is that your only reaction? Shouldn't you ask me for a dozen or so?" Then Louis Okai seriously asked. "Did your sect activate the defensive formation? Is there a strong enemy attacking? And who improved the sword formation to such a terrifying level?" Louis Waming casually replied, "It's nothing. Recently, we just have too many spiritual crystals. We wanted to use up some of our stock. You should have felt the power of the sword formation, even though its consumption increased tenfold. My Starkstream sect can afford it." Hearing this, Louis Okai was so angry. "You are showing off. How many spiritual crystals do you have now? You only upgraded a defensive formation. Look at you being so smocked." Louis Waming smiled slightly. "It's not that many. Just 100 million. That should last a few months. You look like you just came back from the Heavenly Tao battlefield. Anything else besides the spiritual crystals?" On the surface, Louis Okai pretended to be calm and said, "Nothing much. Just wanted to have a drink and chat with you." But he was shocked and sighed. 100 million. Louis Waming has never lied to him about big matters. which means 100 million spiritual crystals is true. Later, Louis Okai followed Louis Waming to chat. But along the way, he smelled a delicious aroma. Suddenly, Louis Okai went crazy. He recognized the scent of the purple thunder mad lion. He then rushed towards the source of the aroma and witnessed the disciples feasting. Louis Okai was stunned. It really was the purple thunder mad lion. He couldn't believe it. Louis Waming was also a bit surprised at this point. This purple thunder mad lion has at least survived 9 thunder tribulations. It's a terrifying beast that could ascend to the upper realm at any time. And now it's being roasted and eaten. Louis Okai was very puzzled. What are your disciples doing? Then, after seeing what was being grilled, he immediately grabbed Louis Waming and questioned him. You are roasting and eating such a powerful beast's flesh. When did your Star Extreme sect become so rich? Louis Waming helplessly said, Rich? Not at all. It's definitely that Prodigal He Fang's doing. Just then, Louis Okai suddenly saw a terrifying scene that made his heart skip a beat. A disciple, only at the Chi activation realm, held what appeared to be an ordinary black dagger. Yet, he was effortlessly cutting through the scales covering the body of the purple thunder mad lion. At this moment, Louis Okai was truly shocked. It was one thing for these disciples to openly roast the purple thunder mad lion. But that dagger that sliced through the lion's scales as if they were tofu. What kind of divine weapon was that? My old friend, your sect feels so unfamiliar to me now. Louis Waming was also stunned. He had no idea either. No, he must inform the 5 ancestral elders first. Then, he sent a voice message to the 5 ancestral elders. Hurry up and come over. That Yaifeng kid is wasting resources again. In this time, it's the corpse of a purple thunder mad lion that survived 9 thunder tribulations. He's roasting it for the disciples to eat. If you don't come now, it'll be gone. Louis Okai, confused, asked. Who is Yaifeng? Why do you need to call the 5 ancestral elders? Can't you just deal with him directly? Louis Waming sighed heavily. I wish I could handle it. But I can't. Not only is Yaifeng the 6th core disciple of the sect, but he also contributed 100 million top-grade spiritual crystals and enhanced the 9-star sword formation. Now, he holds the position of honorary elder. Even I, Louis Waming, have to address him as Elder Yi. Upon hearing the news, Chiyun Shan from the back mountain cried. And in the next moment, he was furiously shouting, Big brother, do you realize how important a beast that survived 9 thunder tribulations is to me? Saying this, he rushed to the scene. Fortunately, he was stopped by the other ancestral elders in time. Impulsiveness is the devil. Louis Chongqing said, puzzled. Isn't it obvious? Such a high-level beast corpse is naturally important, especially for a body cultivator like you. It's probably more important than an enlightenment pill. Chiyun Shan immediately lamented. Now in our sect, we have only one such beast corpse, and half of it has already been roasted and eaten by inner and outer sect disciples. Hearing this, the rest of the ancestral elders were also heartbroken. No wonder Old Fifth is so furious. If it were them, they would react the same way. Let's hurry up and stop them. Chiyun Shan admitted that he was powerless. It was that Yaifeng kid who brought it out. He wanted to share it with the disciples. We can't interfere. Louis Chongqing thought about it and agreed. After all, they had taken so many good things from Yaifeng. They couldn't possibly take away the beast corpse too. This sentiment was echoed by the other ancestral elders. Besides, letting the disciples eat it would greatly benefit them. Louis Chongqing tried to console. It's just unfortunate for you. Old Fifth, why don't we go over and have a taste? It's better to eat some than none at all. They hadn't tasted such a high-level beast before either. So, moments later, Louis Waming and Louis Chui were already feasting on the dueling ground. The two were even competing to see who could eat faster. Upon seeing this, the arriving ancestral elders didn't know what to say. These 2 old geezers had even less shame than they did. Finally, as a drumbeat sounded, Louis Waming ultimately lost. After all, with Louis Chewy being a body cultivator, it wasn't surprising that he won. Thus, Louis Chewy received cheers from the disciples. At this moment, Louis Waming and others noticed the ancestral elders. They greeted them respectfully. After landing, the ancestral elders approached Yifeng. "Little Yifeng, why didn't you invite us old geezers to eat with you?" Yifeng replied, "How could I not? If the ancestral elders are interested, then please join us." Louis Chewy then teased, "How can an old geezer like you be so unnoticed?" And so, after an hour of digestion, the ancestral elders had a grand feast. Chewy Yinchan even wanted to take away the skeleton. Seeing someone willing to clean up, Yifeng was naturally pleased. Then Louis Waming introduced his old friend Louis Chewy to Yifeng. He's a body cultivation expert in the 4th level of the Tribulation Crossing realm. However, Yifeng was puzzled. Why was his master's father still calling him elderly? It seemed they had no choice. After all, the great ancestral elder had made it clear. The two then exchanged respectful greetings. Only now, even Louis Chewy started addressing him as Elder Yi. Yifeng laughed, "Since you're a friend of my master's father, you're naturally my senior." Hearing this, Louis Chewy felt like his brain was frying. "Why do you call Louis Waming master's father? While Louis Waming addresses you as elder, your relationship is so complicated." Louis Waming explained, "This kid is my daughter's senior disciple. So on his master's father, it's a long story." At this moment, Yifeng received a reward for the lavish feast of the Purple Thunder Madlian. 200 drops of essence blood from the Purple Thunder Madlian that endured the 9 heavenly doubt tribulations. Yifeng wasn't quite familiar with the concept of 9 heavenly doubt tribulations. So he asked his system for clarification. The system patiently explained that when a cultivator or a beast reaches the peak of the Tribulation Crossing realm's 9th level in the Shantian continent and wishes to ascend to a higher realm, they must endure 9 heavenly doubt tribulations, which are different from ordinary tribulations. Yifeng then understood, so it's another level of strength after reaching the peak of the Tribulation Crossing realm's 9th level. Luo Kai then excitedly approached and said, "Thank you, nephew Yifeng, without you, I wouldn't have tasted such a precious beast, but I must say, you really wasted the essence blood of the Purple Thunder Madlian." Yifeng was a bit dazed from Luo Kai's enthusiastic patting. He took out the recently awarded essence blood and asked, "Senior, are you talking about this?" Upon closer inspection, Luo Kai confirmed, "Yes, this aura is right. This essence blood is refined from the Purple Thunder Madlian." Yifeng offered to give them some of the essence blood, but mentioned he would keep some for his own pet dog. Luo Kai was confused. "Dog, is that a nickname for your friend?" Luo Kai was explained. "No, dog is not a person. It's just a regular stray dog. It just swallowed over 2009 pattern clear mysterious pills and is evolving into a beast." Luo Kai was taken aback. "What? A regular stray dog gets such benefits?" Luo Kai found it hard to believe. Yifeng reassured him. "It's really just a dog." Luo Kai was in disbelief, muttering, "You must be joking." Seeing Luo Kai state, Yifeng excused himself and left. Luo Kai was dumbfounded. Wanted to take Luo Kai somewhere to give him an opportunity. Luo Kai snapped back to reality and followed, but he was still puzzled. What kind of opportunity can your sect possibly have? Back at Luo Kai's residence, he took out a pill for Luo Kai. Luo Kai was suspicious, wondering if it was poison. Luo Kai reassured. "If you weren't my close buddy, I wouldn't offer this to you." He went on to explain. "This is an enlightenment pill. I bet you've never seen one before." Luo Kai was dumbfounded. "Is this for real?" Luo Kai replied, "Try it and you'll know. You'll thank me." Without hesitation, Luo Kai swallowed the pill. In an instant, his mind began to whirl rapidly. He sat down cross-legged, entering a state of enlightenment. After 20 minutes, Luo Kai woke up, visibly satisfied. Luo Kai said, "Told you, didn't I? That enlightenment pill was given by Yifeng. Apart from the 70 he provided to the sect. He's keeping 20 to feed his dog. He went on to mention Sadianyu, who helps Yifeng and receives 9-leaf soul-returning herbs. Ignoring auction houses, he joined Luokai's daughter's Star Soul sect as an elder. And by 10 home, sent to supervise his daughter, now completely stationed at Star Soul sect. After listening, Luokai silently left. Luokai was puzzled. We haven't had our drinks yet. Where are you going? Luokai was visibly upset. What's there to drink? Luokai was bewildered. We're just chatting. Why are you angry? Luokai spoke somberly. I'm alone in this world. Besides you, I have no friends or family. I could have had a daughter like Luokai changed you with. Thinking he hit a sore spot, Luokai prepared to apologize. But Luokai changed his tone, so you didn't tell me earlier about your daughter founding a sect. I've decided to join as an elder to find a place to call home. With that, he soared into the sky. Luokai was livid, so you're also angry things opportunities. You really have no shame. Get back here. At Luokai's abrupt departure, Luokai was absolutely furious. Who was it that said they'd never join any faction for life? Who claimed they loved freedom? Wishing to settle down now. I bet you're just setting your sights on your phone. Although Luokai was verbally ridiculed as old friend, truth be told, he also desired to join. If it weren't for his status as a master's father, he would have already become an elder at Star Soul sect, snapping back to reality. Luokai was a woman who remembered the matter of the demonic beast's essence. He must quickly inform the 5 ancestral elders. Meanwhile, Yifeng, out of boredom, started singing only to be interrupted by a forceful kick on his door from senior brother Chen Helyu. Chen stormed in angrily questioning Yifeng. Little junior brother, I knew you were extravagant, but this is pure madness. Yifeng calmly responded, stay steady. Don't panic. Look, my door's broken again. It turns out Chen Helyu had visited the scripture vault and found information about the Purple Thunder Mad Line. He also got wind of Yifeng's extravagant actions. Yifeng nonchalantly said, I'm aware Chen Helyu was utterly defeated, realizing he couldn't reason with such a prodigal like Yifeng. It seems he'll have to adjust his attitude, especially for when they get to the Star Soul sect, where he might just die from frustration without even a good bite. Chen Helyu staggered away. Yifeng was dumbfounded. He broke my door and just left like that. Unbelievable. My poor door. Finally, after patching up his door and preparing to sleep, the door was brutally kicked open once again. This time by 5th ancestral elder Chen Helyu. Yifeng, are you asleep? But Yifeng resigned in anticipating the elder's intentions. Didn't waste any words. He directly handed over 10 drops of the demonic beast's essence as a token of respect. Chen Helyu with a hand of hesitation accepted the essence, uttering apologetically, I'm so sorry for the intrusion. Elder E, I won't disturb your rest. If you need anything, do let me know. With that, he decisively excused himself and left. Yifeng, staring at his shattered door, felt no desire to fix it anymore. Maybe I should just change courtyards. He mused. After shifting courtyards, Yifeng finally enjoyed a good night's sleep. Come morning, it was time for new extravagant products to be refreshed. Opening his system, he saw mind-calming incense, a bundle of 100 sticks, made from the 10,000-year dark god black tree. The fragrance it emitted when lit had a calming effect. Training under its influence could doubly effectiveness, but rather than considering its impact on his training, Yifeng wondered if it could help him sleep even better. Outside, Lua Wuming and the ancestral elders were staking out, based on Lua Wuming's days of observations. Yifeng always seemed to take out some extravagant items to splurge every morning. Back at Star Soul said early in the morning, he'd fed his dog with Underworld Sword Intent fragments. Later, on the way to Star Extreme Set, he casually threw away a high-quality spiritual stone. And then, there was yesterday's incident with the Purple Thunder Mad Lion, which also happened in the morning. Luo Wuming seriously suspected that if this prodigal didn't indulge in luxury every morning, his mood would be off for the whole day. The ancestral elders unanimously agreed, sounds about right. Suddenly, Luo Wuming caught a whiff of a fragrance. For a split second, he was entranced. The next moment, the great ancestral elder dashed forward, recognizing the aroma as that of the mind-calming incense, and not the ordinary kind. With a loud bang, Yaifeng's door was obliterated yet again. As the incense burned beside him, a bewildered Yaifeng regained his senses and shouted, "Do you all have a vendetta against doors?" The great ancestral elder took a deep breath of the mind-calming incense, and with an "I knew it" expression, looked content, surrounded by the 5 ancestral elders, and his master's father. Yaifeng was utterly confused. "What's the meaning of this?" Luo Wuming inquired. "Yaifeng, what kind of spiritual wood is this mind-calming incense made from?" Yaifeng casually responded, "It's from the 10,000-year dark god black tree." Luo Wuming feigned calm, replying, "Ah, the 10,000-year dark god black tree. Not bad, really quite good," but inside, he had already lost his mind. After all, it was 10,000 years old. Yaifeng looked at him with resignation. "Are you sure it's just not bad? By that measure, the 10,000-year dark god black tree doesn't seem all that special. It doesn't even compare to the other luxurious items I had earlier. Seems like it's being looked down upon by the ancestral elders." Little did he know, Luo Chanting was just fainting indifference. This tree was incredibly precious. Watching Yaifeng lighted stick by stick, Luo Chanting felt his heart shatter, frustrated by the slow burn. Yaifeng even brought out a fire tray to burn them faster. Luo Wuming whispered, "There are 100 of them." Luo Chanting and the other ancestral elders were crestfallen. This was mind-calming incense, and he was wasting it. The anxiety and heartbreak drove him crazy. Everyone was devastated. After using the fire tray to burn all 100 sticks, Yaifeng peacefully went to sleep. Luo Chanting maintained a cherry facade, but inside, he was raging, such a wasteful boy. He burned 100 mind-calming incense sticks just to sleep. Does he want to infuriate us to death? The exasperated ancestral elders could only leave, venting their frustrations outside Yaifeng's courtyard. You can imagine the 100 words of complaints. After venting, Luo Chanting finally sighed in relief. The second ancestral elder lamented, "Forget the 10,000-year dark god black tree. I've never even seen a tree over 5,000 years old in the heavenly Tao battlefield." Luo Chanting added, "Moreover, I suspect those incenses were made from the tree's core. It's not merely about its age, but after all, it's Yaifeng's possession. Out of sight, out of mind, I won't be coming back. I can't fathom where this kid gets all these treasures. Making us all so envious. Let's leave. While it's a boon for the set to have Yaifeng, his wasteful habits are beyond words." With that, the ancestral elders resolve never to return. Seeing this, Luo Wuming tried to placate them. "There's no need for such reactions. If we can't change it, why not just close our eyes and enjoy the ambience?" Shuyanchen immediately agreed. "You're right." In an instant, the same ancestral elders who had vowed not to return all gave Luo Wuming a thumbs up, saying, "Great idea." And just like that, despite their earlier words, several ancestral elders sat outside Yifeng's courtyard, immersing themselves in meditation. Yaifeng woke up an hour later, incredibly excited. "I had such a good sleep, and I've used up all the mind-combing incense. Perfect." With that, after completing his daily wasteful task, Yaifeng received another reward. 200 sticks of mind-combing incense made from the 10,000-year dark god black tree, which boasted intense fragrance. Yaifeng was dumbfounded. "Is this damned system trying to play tricks on me? Can I get another reward?" He was infuriated that the system had given him another 200 sticks of the mind-combing incense, believing that even the great ancestral elders didn't value it. He felt the incense was undermining his reputation as a lavish spender. "I might as well throw them away," he muttered, heading out to dispose of the incense, but when he saw the ancestral elders congregated outside his door, he was taken aback. "What are you all doing here?" Lua Chanting explained, true cultivators practice anywhere and everywhere. The highest state of cultivation is to follow one's heart. Lua Wiming discreetly gave him a thumbs up, impressed by the great ancestral elder's wisdom. Seizing the opportunity, Yaifeng decided to get the ancestral elders to deal with the mind-combing incense for him. In front of the great ancestral elder, he casually dropped the incense and retreated to his room. The ancestral elders were stunned, staring at the incense scattered on the ground. Lua Chanting even felt as if he had been reduced to a beggar. This kid just dropped 200 sticks of mind-combing incense without a word. What's he trying to say? At this point, Lua Wiming seemed to realize the reason. Great ancestral elder, do you remember what you said in front of Yaifeng earlier? You mentioned that these mind-combing incense were just not bad, and his expression changed right after that. Upon hearing this, Lua Chanting recalled the incident. Indeed, that's what happened. Suddenly, a thought struck him. Could it be that? Lua Wiming explained, he might have felt that your assessment of the incense was too low. After hearing your words, he dismissed it as worthless junk. That's why he threw it at us. To deal with as we saw fit, Lua Chanting, wanting to clarify the situation, knocked on Yaifeng's door, asking if they should handle the mind-combing incense for him. As expected, Yaifeng's voice responded, thank you, great ancestral elder. Please get rid of that junk for me, using it will only devalue me. Receiving the confirmation, Lua Chanting's face broke into a mysterious smile and exclaimed, guys, let's go. Later, back in the cave dwelling on the back mountain, he began distributing the mind-combing incense to the other ancestral elders, with each receiving 20 sticks. Lua Wiming looked smug, hinting, what about me? Where's my share? He expected to be rewarded. However, Lua Chanting calmly looked at him and said, you get nothing. He then decisively threw Lua Wiming out. Lua Wiming was dumbfounded, thinking, we were all begging together. So why am I excluded? Even 10 sticks would do. Inside the dwelling, Chi Yunchan pulled out a beggar's outfit, suggesting, brother, why don't we become beggars? Every morning, we can stake out Yaifeng's place. No matter what treasures he brings out, we'll claim they're mediocre. The word begging might sound odd, but if it means getting treasures like this every day, I'd happily be a beggar. The other ancestral elders agreed. Begging does seem like a quick path to riches. Lua Chanting knew these guys too well. They might talk about becoming beggars, but in reality, they were just concerned about Yaifeng squandering valuable items. Lua Chanting soon approached Lua Wiming outside the window, reminding him that Yaifeng would be heading to the Heavenly Dao battlefield the next day. You must ensure Yaifeng's safety, he instructed. Lua Wiming acknowledged the order, understood. I will personally escort Yaifeng to the Heavenly Dao teleportation tower. The following day, Yaifeng woke up in high spirits and checked his system window, eager to see his newest acquisitions. He noticed a 10,000 set of second-class 9th-rank Earth Prisoner Talisman, which could trap enemies in an earthen prison. To Yaifeng, this seemed intriguing, definitely more so than yesterday's mind-coming incense. He decided not to flaunt it just yet. It might come in handy in the Heavenly Dao battlefield. Meanwhile, Lua Chanting stealthily approached Yaifeng's residence. Today, the kid is off to the Heavenly Dao battlefield. I wonder if I can scrounge some benefits. He mused. This time, Lua Chanting deliberately didn't inform the other ancestral elders. Begging, after all, was an embarrassing act. So as the eldest, he felt he should bear that shame alone. Unexpectedly, he bumped into the second ancestral elder, who even brought along a betting bowl. Lua Chanting was dumbfounded. Old second, you're taking this a bit too far. Aren't you? Why didn't I think of bringing a bowl? The second ancestral elder proposed. Big brother, how about this? If we get something today, we'll split it between the two of us. Lua Chanting nodded in agreement. You truly are a good brother. Just then, he spotted another figure in the distance. Isn't that old third, he wondered? The third ancestral elder stepped forward awkwardly, holding a cracked bowl. Big brother, second brother. I hope you don't mind if I join in. The three looked at each other, embarrassment evident on their faces. They hadn't expected to all have the same idea, but just as they were reconciling with this situation, a slender, elegant leg emerged from behind a screen, causing the trio to blush deeply. What kind of tactic is this? Their previous understanding shattered. To their astonishment, it was the fourth ancestral elder, who, in an effort to beg for treasures, had even employed the seductive tactic of dressing up in a tantalizing manner. The appearance of the fourth ancestral elder in such a manner left the other elders in shock. "Old Fourth, please don't do this. We're terrified." The fourth ancestral elder appeared just as surprised, saying, "I hadn't expected all my elder brothers to be here too." Taking in this situation, Luo Chanqing scanned the surroundings, commenting, "Since Old Fourth is here, surely Old Fifth is around as well." The fourth ancestral elder responded, "Didn't he come early?" From behind the courtyard, the fifth ancestral elder, Qi Yunchan, had been waiting for a while. He was even more professionally equipped for begging. Not only was he holding a broken bowl, but he was also dressed in tattered clothes. Upon seeing this, Luo Chanqing exclaimed, "Old Fifth, why are you going to such lengths? It's just begging, after all." At this point, Luo Woming also stealthily approached, thinking, "Yaifeng always oversleeps today. I need to ensure he wakes up early," but as he entered the courtyard, Luo Woming was completely baffled by the sight of the ancestral elders in such a state. The fourth ancestral elder greeted him coyly. "Little Luo has arrived too." Qi Yunchan even suggested, "Do you want a bowl as well?" Luo Woming felt like he was losing his mind. "Are these really the ancestral elders I know?" He quickly retreated, pretending he saw nothing. Moments later, Yaifeng emerged, and upon seeing the spectacle, a loud "what the hell" escaped his lips. He was startled by the bizarre behavior of the ancestral elders, observing their broken bowls. A myriad of expressions crossed his face. What on earth are the ancestral elders up to? Are they trying to test their emotional resilience? And in my courtyard, of all places, do they want me to judge who's the best beggar? As Yifeng's gaze moved from the youthful fourth ancestral elder to the beggar-styled fifth ancestral elder, and then to the calm and composed great ancestral elder, he finally settled on Qi Yunchan. In front of him, he placed 10 drops of great demon fairy blood in his bowl. Yaifeng was so moved by his own generosity that tears welled up in his eyes. "I even helped in choosing the best beggar, and now I've even donated from my own pocket. Where can you find such a generous disciple like me?" Soon after, he went looking for his master's father. On the other hand, Qi Yunchan was extremely pleased with himself and burst into triumphant laughter. "I knew this method would work." However, just then, a large hand grabbed him. The other ancestral elders, with mischievous grins, stare at him. "Old Fifth, we share both the good times and the bad. We beg together, so you can't just run off with the loot." Qi Yunchan sighed in frustration. If he had known this would happen, he would have made his escape earlier. At this moment, Yaifeng arrived at the main hall of the sect. Seeing him, Luo Wuming asked if he had encountered the ancestral elders. Yaifeng innocently replied, "I did see them, true to their stature as powerful beings. They are cultivating their minds and spirits by enduring the trials of a beggar's life. They didn't say anything, but I understood their intentions. That's why I gave the most pitiful-looking fifth ancestral elder 10 drops of great demon fairy blood." Upon hearing this, Luo Wuming almost choked on his own spit, cultivating their minds by pretending to be beggars. They were actually begging from you, who told you to have so many treasures. By indulging them this way, you'll only encourage their eccentricities even more. He sighed deeply, but chose not to reveal the truth to Yaifeng. He no longer cared about the direction things were taking. After all, it was all in good fun. Yaifeng impatiently then asked, "Master, are the other disciples ready? Where are we heading to the Heavenly Dao Battlefield's teleportation tower?" Luo Wuming, upon hearing this, drew out his flying sword and declared, "It's just the two of us. Let's set out now." With that, he and Yaifeng soared away on the sword. The ancestral elders, seeing this, felt a pain of regret. "The kid's only been here for a few days, but we'll miss him. He probably won't return to the Stark Stream sect, and will go directly to the Star Soul sect instead. The fourth ancestral elder then proposed, should we also head to the Star Soul sect? After all, the Starkstream sect now has a constantly active protective formation. Lua Okanching was utterly exasperated by the elders. Have you no shame? Not only did you beg, but now you want to chase after him to the Star Soul sect. Look at old Fifth. How pragmatic he is. However, Chiyun-chan was even more audacious, having already packed up and ready to depart for the Star Soul sect immediately. Elder brother, I leave the Starkstream sect in your hands. I'm truly grateful. This act finally pushed Lua Okanching over the edge, releasing a terrifying aura. He roared, all of you. Stay right here in our sect. None of you are going to the Star Soul sect. Those who defy me will bear the consequences. Seeing this outburst, the ancestral elders were genuinely startled. It seemed they had taken their games a bit too far. While flying, Yifeng expressed his confusion. It seems rather quiet along the way. I haven't seen any other cultivators or beasts. It's very different from what I've seen in the Star Soul sect. Lua Okanching explained, it's possible that the nearby cultivators have killed them all for practice. After all, the beasts of the Heavenly Tao battlefield are several times stronger than regular ones. A beast from the Heavenly Tao battlefield can easily defeat several normal beasts, and the same goes for cultivators. As for not encountering any cultivators, it's possible given the vastness of the Shantian continent. However, just as he finished speaking, they were confronted by a stunning red-haired beauty blocking their path. Could the two of you entertain me for a bit? She flirtatiously asked. Lua Okanching's face turned serious. She's a powerful demon. I'll hold her off, Yifeng. You run. The next moment, the alluring demoness voice chimed in. Don't go. Stay and keep me company. She then launched an attack on the two of them. The demoness swiftly restrained both men. Lua Ohoming, looking grave, remarked, as expected. She possesses the power of the 9th layer of the Tribulation Crossing realm. The demoness then proposed, how about a fun trade? If you present something that piques my interest, I'll let you both go. Not trusting the promises of demons. Lua Ohoming braced himself to fight back. However, just as he was about to act, countless drops of great demon fairy blood flew from behind him, courtesy of Yifeng. The sight of the scattered great demon fairy blood left the demonist stunned. Furious. Lua Ohoming turned to Yifeng. Have you lost your mind? This is merely a trick she's using to play with us. By showing such a treasure, she's even less likely to let us go. Yifeng, unfazed, replied with a smirk. It would be best if she tries to deceive us. I will cut her down myself then. It's just a beast. No need to worry. Lua Ohoming looked at Yifeng incredulously. Do you have a trump card up your sleeve? The demoness, in the meantime, appeared utterly perplexed. If she wasn't mistaken, this blood belonged to a powerful demon that had survived 9 heavenly Do Thunder tribulations. She had only survived 2 such tribulations herself. How could these 2 seemingly insignificant figures possess such treasures? They must have a powerful backing, realizing she was outmatched. The demoness accepted the blood and true to her word. Let them go. Lua Ohoming quickly prepared to leave with Yifeng, but Yifeng hesitated. We finally encounter a powerful beast. How can we leave without witnessing the might of a great demon? Lua Ohoming was on the verge of exploding. Would you please stop provoking her? Yifeng then took out 50 drops of great demon fairy blood. If you kill me, these will be yours. Lua Ohoming felt utterly disheartened, thinking, what on earth is he thinking? What Yifeng was thinking was, I've never faced real danger, so I haven't had a chance to summon my system's godly wealthy guard squad. Now that we've encountered this demoness, it's the perfect opportunity. He continued to tempt the demoness. This is great demon fairy blood. Are you tempted? The demoness was getting increasingly nervous, facing such a formidable creature, yet still being this calm, meant that this young man was no ordinary person. There must be a terrifying power protecting him nearby. She realized that if she took action, she would be doomed. With that thought, she immediately transformed, revealing her true form. A mantis demon. Seeing this, Yifeng was amazed. This creature looks so cool. Lua Ohoming explained, this is the bloodthirsty mantis. It grows stronger with a constant supply of potent blood. It's a very formidable and tricky creature to handle. Having shown her true form, the demoness promptly fled, disregarding the Feng's intentions completely. Once at a safe distance, looking at the great demon fairy blood in her grasp, she pondered, was I too cautious? What if they just happened to stumble upon the great demon fairy blood? After all, it seems unlikely they could handle a demon of this level, shrugging off her concerns. She placed the great demon fairy blood into her chest, thinking, at least I came out ahead this time, no point in dwelling on it. However, just then, Yifeng, riding on Lua Ohoming, keen chasing after her, seeing this, the demoness was dumbfounded. Yifeng urged his master's father to speed up, even taking out a spiritual stone without hesitation to recharge him. Lua Ohoming was equally enthusiastic, restoring his energy and speeding up once more. The demoness was now on the verge of tears, exclaiming, are you both out of your minds? I already let you go. Why are you chasing again? Yifeng shouted angrily, monster, don't run. Let's have a real fight. If I lose, you can do as you wish with me. But if you lose, you'll become my battle pet. The demoness was terrified and immediately tried to flee faster, not bothering about Yifeng's challenge. She even threw back the great demon fairy blood, hoping to get in to stop chasing her. At this moment, Lua Ohoming said, I can't catch up to her. Let's just let it go. However, Yifeng wasn't willing to give up so easily and asked his master's father to throw him towards the demoness. Reluctantly, Lua Ohoming agreed and, with a powerful toss, sent Yifeng flying forward at this speed. In a blink of an eye, Yifeng was right behind the demoness. The demoness was startled again and began to swing her side in desperation, asking Yifeng to stay away. However, the system judged Yifeng to be in a life-threatening situation. The next moment, the sky seemed to tear apart, leaving both Lua Ohoming and the demoness staring in shock from the crack. A figure emerged tearing through the space. A powerful and robust man stepped out, commenting, this place sure is noisy. At this moment, the imposing godly wealthy guard squad finally made their appearance. Upon arrival, he reported to Yifeng, Master, I apologize for the delay. Please forgive me. Yifeng, who was holding on to the demoness, said, it's all right. You came just in time. The guard then stabilized the surrounding space, allowing Yifeng to stand securely in the air. Yifeng asked, are you a member of the godly wealthy guard squad? Is it just you? The guard respectfully explained, for the current threat I alone am sufficient. The guard squad consists of thousands, and the number dispatched varies based on the danger you're in. The guard then glared menacingly at the demoness and asked, Master, do you wish for me to eliminate this threat? The demoness hastily begged for mercy, saying, Boss, I was wrong. Upon seeing the situation, Yifeng chose not to harm the demoness. After witnessing the guard's capabilities, he dismissed him, saying, if she harbors any intent to kill, please come again. The guard bowed respectfully, replying, it's an honor to serve you, Master. Before departing, with a smirk, Yifeng turned to the demoness and said, now, you have two choices, become my battle pet or die. Without hesitation, the demoness knelt down, proclaiming, Master, I will obey your every command. At that moment, a contract materialized. Yifeng couldn't understand a single word written in its arcane script. Lua Wuming explained, this is the Heavenly Tao Blood Pact. If you drop your blood on it, you'll gain complete control over the demon. Looking at the pitiful and blushing demoness, Yifeng decisively bit his finger and let his blood drop onto the contract. He thought, trading a drop of blood for a battle pet is such a great deal. The Heavenly Tao Blood Pact resonated greatly after absorbing the blood. The demoness felt as if she were on fire, her body trembling uncontrollably. After enduring this torment, she was successfully subdued by Yifeng. Approaching her with concern, Yifeng said, "From now on, I am your master. My name is Yifeng." The demoness blushed even deeper at this. Now, Luo Wuming no longer needed to be the driver, as the two mounted the demoness mount. Luo Wuming asked Yifeng, "I know you come from the higher realms, but who exactly are you?" Unsure of how to explain, Yifeng said, "All you need to know, Master's father, is that I am the direct disciple of the Supreme Master." Hearing this, Luo Wuming didn't press further and burst into laughter, exclaiming that Luo Qinchua indeed had an excellent disciple. Yifeng, witnessing this reaction, felt mixed emotions, realizing that his master's father didn't mind his true identity after all. As the sun set, Yifeng and his group arrived at the Heavenly Dao Battlefield Teleportation Tower. The place was packed with people. Luo Wuming explained that even though the Heavenly Dao Battlefield was dangerous, each realm was an independent space, which reassured many because of this. Countless individuals flocked to the battlefield in search of opportunities and resources. Hearing this, Yifeng figured that given his ability to take on 200 of his senior brothers, he must be considered quite outstanding here. To ensure his safety, he inquired if the godly wealthy guard squad could appear within the Heavenly Dao battlefield. The system assured him they could, as the guard squad wasn't bound by the battlefield's rules. Reassured, Yifeng smiling, "This system is truly impressive. Now I can explore freely." Soon after, Yifeng decided to enter the battlefield alone, leaving his newly subdued little blood to escort his master's father back to the sect. At this, Luo Wuming was ecstatic. He was eager to report to the elders that a demon who had withstood 2 Heavenly Dao Thunder tribulations had joined their sect. Surely the Star Extreme sect would rise in prominence now. Before long, Yifeng entered the Heavenly Dao battlefield. However, the desolation in front of him differed from his expectations. Suddenly, he heard a voice from a nearby tree. "Brother, is this your first time in the Heavenly Dao battlefield?" Yifeng responded, "Yes, it's my first time." A chubby individual named Li Fei then jumped down and asked about Yifeng's capabilities, offering to guide him as he was familiar with the battlefield. Yifeng calmly replied that he was at the peak of the Qi activation realm's 9th stage. The two stared at each other for a moment and then, as if they were old friends, decided to team up. Li Fei used to himself. "Are you naive or just simple? You answer everything so directly. You must have a trunk cart to be so fearless." Yifeng was well aware that this fellow, Li Fei, was trying to take advantage of him. However, with the guard squad at his back and call, he wasn't the least bit concerned about his safety and was in the mood for some fun. Though thinking about it, Yifeng realized that since his transmigration, he hadn't killed anyone, which felt quite uncharacteristic for a typical transmigrator. Li Fei, buzzing with excitement, proposed, "How about this? I'll lead the way in whatever resources we find. We'll split 50 to 50. Yifeng, equally thrilled, agreed immediately. Li Fei thought to himself, "I need to test his strength. If he's strong, we can team up. If he's weak, well, he can't blame me for what happens next." Li Fei then led Yifeng to a pack of iron-back rats to test his strength. There were about 300 of these rats and their strength ranged from the 5th to the 8th stage of the Qi activation realm. "Let's see what you've got," Li Fei challenged. With a sly grin, Yifeng pulled out his Earth Prisoner talisman, a major splurge on his part. The sky full of talismans dumbfounded Li Fei. "What the hell, why do you have so many talismans? And they're all 2nd grade, 9th rank." Li Fei looked back, puzzled. "Why, to make things easier?" Of course, this move left Li Fei in a daze. At that moment, the iron-back rats were in the middle of what seemed like a concert. The next second, they were bombarded by a rain of talismans, specifically Li Fei's Earth Prisoner talismans. In an instant, the rats were immobilized. Li Fei then delivered the finishing blow, wiping them out one by one as if playing a game of whack-a-mole. The scene left Li Fei utterly baffled. "Is this for real? You used 300 expensive talismans just to kill iron-back rats. Are you hunting monsters or just squandering money after clearing out the rats?" Yifeng turned to Li Fei. "So, brotherly, what do you think of my strength now? Li Fei was utterly flabbergasted, ignoring Li Fei's power for a moment. Just the Earth Prisoner talisman alone was something he couldn't break without exerting his full strength. Are you here to show off? Why the excessive display of wealth? Li Fei muttered as Yaifeng prepared to leave. Li Fei pointed to the demon core scattered on the ground. Aren't you taking these cores? Even though they're from low-tier monsters, they're still valuable. Yaifeng looked surprised. Brotherly, do you really lack money that much? In that case, I'll leave these for you. Li Fei was dumbstruck. He was convinced Yaifeng was just putting on an act. You come to the Heavenly Dao battlefield and you don't want resources. I want to see how long you'll keep up the charade. Just then, a figure zoomed towards them. You two brats, hand over the iron-backed rat corpses. If you don't want to die, Yaifeng were tormented nonchalantly. Which gang do you hail from? Daring to mess with me? Finally, someone trying to rob me. I'll deal with you, punk. Yaifeng then unleashed another barrage of Earth Prisoner talismans. The robber was bewildered. He didn't just use hundreds. How do you still have so many? But before he could react, he was trapped. After a struggle, the robber managed to break the last talisman. But as soon as he did, he saw Yaifeng clutching dozens more, smiling menacingly at him. Before he knew it, he was trapped once again. Li Fei felt a wave of relief wash over him. Glad that he hadn't provoked Yaifeng. Otherwise, he'd be the one trapped now. Eventually, the robber broke free again. Yelling, relying on external tools is no measure of skill. If you're a real man, let me out and we'll fight on equal terms. Yet, in response, Yaifeng thrust a sword right at him. You, a mere low-life, are not worthy of facing me. Yaifeng said with unabashed arrogance. Seeing Yaifeng's suave demeanor, Li Fei was truly shaken. Damn, this guy's ruthless. I was fooled by him earlier. I thought he was an innocent and kind person, but this was all a facade. The realization made Li Fei's heart race and fear. At that moment, Yaifeng was incredibly hospitable, even handing over a bunch of Earth Prisoner talismans to Li Fei, telling him to use them whenever he ran into trouble. Looking at the talismans in his hand, Li Fei finally understood that Yaifeng wasn't just pretending to be rich. He was genuinely wealthy. It was no wonder he didn't value monster corpses. The guy just didn't care about money. Yaifeng remembered that the new day was only 5 hours away, but he still had over 9,000 talismans left. He had to use them all up quickly. Consequently, under their thoughtless throwing of talismans, they finally exhausted all of them, earning Yaifeng 1,000 points in 100 enlightenment pills. Exhausted, Yaifeng collapsed to the ground. It's so tiring to spend so freely. At that moment, Li Fei was smiling from ear to ear. He was truly grateful for Yaifeng's talismans. The profit he made in just one night wasn't even 120th of what he got from using the talismans. Li Fei surmised that Yaifeng must be a core disciple of a major sect and had mentally classified him as someone not to mess with. Regaining his composure, Yaifeng said, Little Fei, I won't let you work for free. Take this enlightenment pill and consume it. I'll protect you while you meditate. Li Fei looked at the pill in his hand, a dubious expression on his face. Is this a poisonous pill? But if I don't consume it, would this lavish guy attack me with a treasure? After some consideration, Li Fei decided to swallow the pill. After all, there was no benefit for Yaifeng to harm him. And if Yaifeng wanted him dead, he wouldn't need to be so elaborate. Clearly, Li Fei was no match for Yaifeng. The moment he swallowed the pill, Li Fei froze. A clear, insightful feeling washed over him, prompting him to immediately sit cross-legged and begin the process of enlightenment. Yaifeng protected him, ensuring no harm came his way. Truthfully, had Yaifeng not received so many enlightenment pills as a reward, he wouldn't have given Li Fei one. After all, he had plans to save some for his pet dog. If the dog knew of his intentions, it would surely decline the offer, not wanting the pill. After 20 minutes, Li Fei's enlightenment came to an end. Li Fei was a bit frustrated, annoyed at himself for wasting the first 2 minutes in a daze. He then promptly knelt down and expressed his gratitude to Yifeng, promising to remember this favor and help out if Yifeng ever needed anything in the future. Curious, Yifeng asked, "Which world do you come from?" Li Fei replied that he hailed from the heavenly fire realm. Yifeng was taken aback. He had never heard of the heavenly fire realm. He shared that he came from the mysterious heaven realm. Li Fei gave an embarrassed smile. It seems our heavenly fire realm isn't that well known. He had initially hoped that maybe they came from the same place, making it easier to bond. But as life would have it, there weren't so many coincidences. After some time, the duo's attention was captured by some shimmering objects in the vicinity. Li Fei, who had seen much of the world, immediately took out his pickaxe, exclaiming excitedly, "Brother E, we're in luck. These are low-grade spiritual crystals. Looks like there are about 200 here." Li Fei enthusiastically started mining. Yifeng looked puzzled. That's it. He decided to give all the crystals to Li Fei. Li Fei, with a confused expression, asked, "Brother E, you don't want anything? Then why did you come to the Heavenly Dao battlefield with a nonchalant gesture?" Yifeng replied, "Just for fun and to splurge, I have lots of precious items. The Heavenly Dao battlefield doesn't really attract me." Seeing Yifeng's casual demeanor, Li Fei had the urge to give him a good punch. Suddenly, an idea struck him, "Brother E, if you're looking to splurge, why not go to the Heavenly Dao City?" Yifeng, looking intrigued, asked, "What's the Heavenly Dao City?" Li Fei began explaining, "Heavenly Dao City is the most unique place in the Heavenly Dao battlefield. It's filled with countless treasures, resources, and cultivation techniques. If you have the money, you can buy anything there. It's truly a paradise for spendthrifts, and the city is governed by the laws of the Heavenly Dao, ensuring that there are no conflicts or robberies. However, to enter the Heavenly Dao City, one needed a Heavenly Dao token. I happen to have one, but it only grants access to the city for a day." Curious, Yifeng inquired, "How did you obtain it?" Li Fei explained, "I found it by chance in some ruins. Even though I want to go, everything in Heavenly Dao City is too expensive. I'd simply be wasting my limited resources there. Since you've given me the enlightenment pill, and I don't know if we'll meet again, I'd like to offer this Heavenly Dao token as a token of my gratitude." Yifeng asked him to wait a moment, saying, "I'm not someone who takes without giving. Here's a bottle of enlightenment pills for you." This unexpected boon left Li Fei ecstatic. He showered Yifeng with praise. Subsequently, Yifeng dripped his blood onto the token. Suddenly, a cloud of smoke enveloped him, taking him by surprise. With a loud pop, he vanished. Li Fei, looking quite pleased with himself, thought about how he traded a token, which was useless to him, for 13 enlightenment pills. What a great deal. Elsewhere, Yifeng appeared out of thin air. When he took in his surroundings, he was astounded. The so-called Heavenly Dao City resembled a modern city. If not for the ancient-style clothing of the people around, Yifeng would have thought he'd returned to his ancestral planet. He felt elated as this modern-looking Heavenly Dao City felt like home. However, his Qi activation realm cultivation seemed to be looked down upon by the practitioners around him. They wondered what use a Qi activation realm cultivator would have in such a place. Suddenly, Yifeng heard an argument nearby. Turning, he saw two practitioners who looked strikingly like super science from another world, bickering. Yifeng was confused. Wasn't the Heavenly Dao City supposed to be free from conflicts? A nearby man explained, "They aren't actually fighting. They're just having a heated argument." Looking at the man who leaned against a sedan, Yifeng asked, "Who might you be?" The man grinned, "Need a ride, starting at 5 Heavenly Dao points." Yifeng realized, "So you're a cab driver?" Yifeng, perplexed, inquired, "What are these Heavenly Dao points?" The driver looked exasperated. "You don't know what Heavenly Dao points are. Are you new here? What a waste of my time." With that, he drove off. Annoyed, Yifeng muttered, "Was just asking a simple question. Why so temperamental?" He then headed to the Heavenly Dao Bank, assuming it's where he could exchange for Heavenly Dao points. Upon entering, he was warmly greeted. Yifeng asked if they had Heavenly Dao points. A staff member named Money Tiger instantly recognized Yifeng as a newcomer, but didn't look down on him. He patiently explained that in Heavenly Dao City, one top-grade spiritual crystal can be exchanged for a Heavenly Dao point, and all expenses in the city require these points. Yifeng was surprised. That's cheap. Why didn't you say so earlier? Noticing Money Tiger's name tag, he saw that the attendant was from the Water Spirit realm and was a powerful practitioner of the Tribulation Crossing realm. Money Tiger felt a bit awkward. A cultivator of the Tribulation Crossing realm serving a Chi Activation realm newcomer might be laughable to others. However, working here allowed him to earn Heavenly Dao points, and working hours didn't count against the duration of his Heavenly Dao token, making it acceptable. Yifeng, puzzled, remarked, "Aren't you wasting your time here then?" Money Tiger looked distressed. "Do you even know how to speak properly?" Unaware of the offense his words may have caused, Yifeng prodded further, "Don't you need to cultivate and are spiritual crystals hard to obtain in the Heavenly Dao battlefield?" His words felt like 3 consecutive blows, leaving Money Tiger speechless. Although irritated, Money Tiger suppressed his anger, intending to send Yifeng away as soon as possible. However, Yifeng halted him. "Wait a moment." Money Tiger braced himself, expecting trouble. To his astonishment, Yifeng pulled out a ring containing a staggering 100 million top-grade spiritual crystals, asking him to exchange them all for Heavenly Dao points. Money Tiger's eyes widened in disbelief and greed. Instantly, his demeanor changed and he eagerly began the exchange process. Yifeng mused, "This world is getting more and more interesting. I should get a few more Heavenly Dao tokens next time and bring my beautiful master here to enjoy the city." Imagining the pairing of handsome men and beautiful women, he envisioned a delightful scene. Just then, Money Tiger zipped over in a flash, holding a processed card in his hand. The speed stunned Yifeng, trying to leave a lasting impression on Yifeng. When he perceived as a god of wealth, Money Tiger offered to answer any questions Yifeng might have. However, Yifeng, uninterested, responded, "No need. I see you're busy, so I won't bother you." Money Tiger was filled with regret, internally crying out, "Don't leave, god of wealth." Afterwards, Yifeng headed to an entertainment spot. The modern architecture around him seamlessly blended with the surroundings. He felt that Heavenly Dao City might have been the work of a traveler or someone from another world, given its modern vibe. Coming across a machine that promised merchandise of a popular idol upon participation, Yifeng was tempted, but the moment he decided to participate, a rift suddenly opened behind him, sucking him in. The only thing left in his spot was a piece of merchandise on the ground. It turned out that Yifeng's Heavenly Dao token had expired, sending him back to his original location in the Heavenly Dao battlefield. Feeling annoyed, Yifeng exclaimed, "It was supposed to last a day. Lifei, you deceiving bastard. Why did it only last half a day? Damn it, I didn't even get my merchandise." Recalling Lifei's mention that the token was found in some ruins, Yifeng deduced that such tokens could probably only be found there. He resolved to settle the score with Lifei if they ever met again. Meanwhile, at another location, Lifei sneezed, completely unaware he was being cursed by Yifeng. At the entrance of the Star Extreme set, an elder dressed in a red robe stood, gazing at the activated 9-star sword formation with amazement. He couldn't understand why the Star Extreme set had its SEC protecting formation, activated in broad daylight. Before long, Luo Chanqing approached, seeing the red robe elder. He laughed, "You old fellow, what brings you here?" Hearing Luo Chanqing's query, the red robe elder sighed deeply, struggling to find the words to answer. For 30 full years, he had been in the Heavenly Dao battlefield and had unexpectedly obtained a Heavenly Dao token. After using it, he worked in the Heavenly Dao City for those 30 years. Through extreme thriftiness, he finally purchased 2 defensive artifacts, capable of withstanding the Heavenly Dao Thunder Tribulation. However, upon returning to the Heavenly Dao battlefield, he found that only a second had passed in the outside world. He had come to explain this unbelievable occurrence to his old friend, but the story was so bizarre, he wasn't sure how to begin. Luo Chanqing gestured for him to enter, saying, "Come in, stop dawdling outside." As they were entering, Bai Gang seemed to sense something and asked Luo Chanqing. "The spiritual crystals your SEC uses to maintain its protective array. Are they top-grade spiritual crystals?" Seeing the astonishment on Bai Gang's face, Luo Chanqing wore a smug expression. "Correct? We use top-grade spiritual crystals to sustain the SEC's protective formation. I bet you've never seen any. I'll give you a few later." Bai Gang, enraged, landed a punch on Luo Chanqing. "Have you gone mad? We've been in the Heavenly Dao battlefield for so many years. Have you ever come across a top-grade spiritual crystal? Even low-quality spiritual crystals are sufficient. How could you waste the top-grade ones? Do you even know their true value?" Luo Chanqing, rubbing his swelling cheek, replied defensively. "Was it necessary to be so aggressive?" Bai Gang then revealed the two defensive treasures. These two mini towers are incredibly powerful defensive artifacts. Each one can withstand a Heavenly Dao Thunder Tribulation. With them, I can endure up to the 7th Heavenly Dao Thunder Tribulation. This powerful treasure cost me over 3 million top-grade spiritual crystals. However, Luo Chanqing, familiar with Xintian continent, dismissed his claims. Where in the world is there an artifact that can withstand a Heavenly Dao Thunder Tribulation? That's pure nonsense. Hearing this, Bai Gang slapped Luo Chanqing again. "What do you know? Do you even know that in a Heavenly Dao battlefield, there's an item called the Heavenly Dao token with it? You can enter the mysterious Heavenly Dao city. There, as long as you have top-grade spiritual crystals, you're king. Even those on the verge of ascension have to bow and scrape before you." Luo Chanqing, somewhat in disbelief, replied, having spent numerous years in the Heavenly Dao battlefield himself. "So, in Heavenly Dao City, top-grade spiritual crystals are the common currency." Bai Gang confirmed. "That's right. If you don't have top-grade spiritual crystals, you can work there. I worked in that city for a full 30 years to earn just over 3 million top-grade spiritual crystals. And when I returned, only a second had passed in the outside world." Thinking of his hard labor days in the Heavenly Dao City, Bai Gang couldn't help but shed tears.